All right, it's district breakdown time. We are finally in 6A, and we're talking 13-6A with my man Jon Poorman from the Houston Chronicle. Jon, this district quickly went from 6 to 9, went from trying to find 5 non-district games to now they only need the 2. Talk about the new teams that have joined this district and how that might help add some competition.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Of course, you've kind of got that Montgomery County feel to it, continuing with New Caney, Caney Creek, and Cleveland all moving up from 5A. These are teams that, it's going to make for a really nice travel. They're kind of all clumped together here in the immediate area up in Montgomery County. And, I think that it's going to add an interesting wrinkle to it, especially with New Caney coming in. They've had a lot of success in recent years in 5A. And of course, they've got, one of the best running backs in the Houston area and the state, and he's up there in the national rankings as well, and Kedrick Riscano. So I think that they can definitely come in and be a factor right away. Of course, Cleveland and Caney Creek haven't had as much success, but it's going to be a huge challenge for those programs over there to be able to try to get in this district and compete. It's going to be really tough though.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the teams that were already in this district, they were just like, okay, we only have to beat out 2 teams to make the playoffs. Well, you got to step it up now. You got to beat out 5 to make it. And a lot of these teams, there's some really good youthful quarterbacks in this district. Maybe talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, well, it starts with the reigning district MVP, the Woodlands, Mabry Matire. He had an excellent sophomore season. Put up some big numbers for the Woodlands, helped them get back to the playoffs. I think they've made the playoffs close to 30 years in a row now. So when you're looking at the Highlanders, of course, they're going to be one of the favorites just because that quarterback position is so valuable. And, we saw it last year with what he was able to do. And then up at Willis, they have a new head coach with Trent Miller coming up from spring, but they also have an outstanding quarterback who will be a junior in the fall, and that's Derek Lagway, DJ Lagway. He is one of the top recruits in the country for his class, and he also had an outstanding sophomore season. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see those 2 guys kind of battling it out for the district MVP once again. But obviously, both of them are kind of dual threat guys, have a lot of ability there, and so it'll be exciting to see them go head to head once again.
A couple of other teams I'd like to touch on. Oak Ridge seems to have a lot of youth. They started a lot of youth 2 years or last year, and now they're still youth. They're juniors. They're not even seniors yet. And then you have College Park, who's always in there in the middle. They always have that rivalry game with the Woodlands. Where do you think those 2 teams might fall?
Yeah, Oak Ridge, of course, with legendary coach Mark Schmid leading the way. You can never count them out. From what I hear, they've got a lot of, like you said, a lot of young guys that are talented and ready to step up and have some varsity experience coming back from last year. And then College Park, of course, what they've done under Coach Lonnie Madison has been incredible. They're always going to be really strong on defense. That's what they hang their hat on. In the running game as well. So Coach Madison's going to have those guys ready to play. And I think that it's really going to make, you think about all these teams we just talked about, it's going to make for a really competitive schedule down the stretch. And these games are really going to be, they have the potential to be toss-ups in some really close games. And, we've seen that, in this district the past few years where it's come down to the final week of the season for teams trying to get in the playoffs. And then, we didn't even mention Conroe. Conroe got into the playoffs last year, and so they're always going to be, a factor with Coach Cedric Hardman over there and what they've been able to do. So, from top to bottom, you're looking at a pretty competitive district, I think.
Yeah, you talked about the Woodlands being 30 years in a row in the playoffs. So in my mind, I got them penciled in there. But the rest of the teams, man, I sure hope these coaches have learned the tiebreaker method in this district, because there's a very good chance this could come into play here at the back end of this playoff spots.
Yeah, for sure. And another one in there, Grand Oaks as well. They are an up-and-coming program. And, they've got some guys under Coach Mike Jackson there that, they're ready to go. And, they've had a couple of years of varsity experience on, playing at, being a new school. They have a couple years of experience now, and they're continuing to grow and develop that program over there. So, you can't count them out either.
It's going to be fun. I don't know. I can't even handicap this one. Not that I would anyway. I wouldn't do that. But you can't figure it out. But it's going to be exciting to see week by week which of these teams fight through. Next week, we're going to move down a little south to 14-6A and talk a little spring and Aldine schools. Can't wait to hear what you say about those guys. And I will talk to you next week.
Sounds good.